Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.
We are flying our flag nationwide. We're in Kisumu region for the Great Debaters Contest. I am Austin Nyambok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. We have Asumbi girls going versus Alungo Mixed Secondary, and they are debating on whether climate change is the single largest threat to sustainable development. We'll let the debaters take the stage now. Proposal number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Climate change refers to that alterations in the elements of weather that are recorded over a given period of time, preferably 35 years. As I stand here, I want to propose the motion, and I want to strongly support it by first saying that due to climate change, which has brought about the heavy rainfall in some areas, this has led to periodic floods, which lead to sedimentation of materials in dams. This reduces the water intake and also storage in those dams. As a result, this reduces the hydroelectric power generation, thereby adversely impacting industrial activities. Secondly, we have that due to global warming, which hinders some crops to do well, and this reduces the agricultural produce in some areas. And as we know that countries like Kenya, which highly depend on agriculture, they really get affected as a result of that global warming. Thirdly, we have that in extreme cases, climate change may lead to extinction of some species of plants and also animals, particularly as a result of disappearing of habitat and inability of some species to adapt to those new conditions and maybe to migrate to other areas. This has really affected tourism industries, which provide foreign exchange to the countries like Kenya, and also employment of citizens of a particular country. Also, otherwise, thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Elizabeth Kasuku from Asumbi Girls High School. I'm here to oppose the motion that states climate change is the single greatest threat to sustainable development. On to my first point, climate change has led to the booming of business, especially in the Arctic region. The Arctic Circle is full of pesky ice in the way, and the Arctic Ocean will be completely open, creating a brand new trade route. And when this trade route is formed, business is going to take place. And when business takes place, money is going to be earned. And this money can be used to create development. This money is going to be used for development. And this is only possible during summer. Then on to my second point. Now tell me, where do senior citizens go to retire? Is it Cleveland? Not usually. Where do people go for holiday? Florida? No. When do most honeymoons take place? During the winter? Not actually. That is only if you're trying to kill your woman. Everybody wants a comfortable life. Everybody wants a comfortable life, a stress-free life, not a life whereby you put so many clothes on in the name of cold seasons. And then, let's talk about, for example, in our country, a place like Mombasa. We call it Mombasa Raha. Why? You find that most people migrate from other countries just to come and enjoy the sunny beaches. Can't you see? And men, if you want to treat your women rightly, then this is what you should do. Take them to the warm, sunny beaches. Because real women can do it on their own. But a real man will never let a real woman do it on her own. Again, warmer weather is safer because no more middle-aged men will fall down with heart attacks, no more children no more kids falling through the icy, or elderly people freezing in their houses. And then when you claim that there are nowadays houses, structures that have been developed, these structures whereby there is heat in the house. But not everybody can afford such. So you can't fool us with that. Those are cock and bulls to me. Those stories are like cock and bull. And we need a system up, because if you tell me such kind, it is a lie, a 2010 lie. Then like you said that floods and blah, okay. What is the function of irrigation and the greenhouses? The greenhouses can be used to help plant whenever there is drought. The greenhouses can be used and they'll help us to supply this. So, yeah, I still stand on my ground and I still oppose the motion. Thank you.
We'll hear rebuttals now. Proposal number 2, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, before you is Samuel Muga from Alungo Mixed Secondary School. I'm here this great day to propose the motion that has been explained by the first proposer. And I want to say that it is due to climate variations that has led to poor interpretation on meteorological department. And this has resulted to poor timing, giving farmers hard time to get high yields. And this has made them not to get enough foods that can sustain them. And as we are aware that Kenya as a nation depends on agriculturalists, therefore the country will not be developed. Second reason is that due to climate variation, it will lead to what is called shortage of pasture and water, and this will reduce the number of livestock. And as we are made aware, we as Kenyans, there are some communities who are practicing what is called pastoralism, and they will have hard time rather also to develop in their various issues, because we know there are some communities who use the livestock as a source of income, maybe to educate their daughters nor sons. And after this, they are aiming that in times to come, then they will have income from their sons and daughters. Third, we know that climate change has caused many contagious diseases. And as a result of this, ladies and gentlemen, it is true that there are so many cases of death, and this has reduced what is called labor force. And this has made the government and the society also to spend a lot of money in ensuring that the life of people are safe. Fourth, due to climate variation, it has led also to displacement of people, animals, and vegetations. And this has resulted to low development of society or a nation. For instance, when people are displaced from one place to another, automatically it is true that there is no any activity which shall have to take place in that place. Due to climate change, it is true. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
Thank you. Before you is Lino Molo, a young Democrat from the Asumbi Girls High School, ready to strongly oppose the motion that goes, climate change is the single greatest threat to sustainable development. On to my first point. The doomsayers have made much of tropical diseases, such as malaria, spreading as the globe warms, but cold weather illnesses like flu kill more people every year. If warmer winters when they finally do take hold, means less time spent indoors. Less time spent indoors means a working nation. A working nation means a greater economy for our country, Kenya. Thus, when we spend less time indoors, we'll reduce the spread of contagious diseases, and maybe someday flu shots will be something of the past. On to my second point, climate change will lead to the increased interest in alternative energy. Fear of global warming has already led to many people to look beyond fossil fuels at wind and solar power as possible alternatives for powering our way of life. If climate scientists are to be believed, it will likely to be too little, but ironically, such efforts could represent progress towards weaning us from our dependence on foreign oil. Thus, the money which our country, Kenya, will use in the purchasing of foreign oil might be used in another sector. Thus, the country's economy will be grown. On to my third point. The greatest benefit from climate change comes not from temperature change, but from carbon dioxide itself. It's not pollution, but the raw material which plants make carbohydrates, hence protein and fats. Since carbon dioxide is a very rare gas in air, less than 0.04% of the air on average, plants struggle to absorb enough of it. On a windless sunny day, a field of corn, or rather maize corn, can suck half the carbon dioxide out of the air. Commercial greenhouses operators, therefore, can pump the carbon dioxide into the greenhouse to raise the plant growth. The plant growth rates will lead to an increase in the agricultural sector. An increase in the agricultural sector will lead to an increase will lead to an increment in the country's economy. Thus, we can even export these plants, the plants to other countries, giving us foreign exchange. As I conclude, I'll strongly ask the proposers to kindly cross over the floor and help me in opposing the motion with the strongest terms possible. Thank you.
Safaricom Sabera that changes forever. M-Pesa Sabera that changes forever.
Yo, you got to enter, comfort and test. Safaricom Sabera, sending money no pressure to what M-Pesa. And if you don't believe, comfort and test.
Unakopa M-Pesa, kulipa ni M-Pesa.
Safaricom Sabera that changes forever. M-Pesa Sabera that changes forever.
Take part in the M Challenge by sending your short song, rap or poem about Safaricom M-Pesa on WhatsApp, and you could win 1,000 shillings in Safaricom airtime.
The audience has posed questions to the two teams on stage. They will be responding shortly. The proposers have been asked what is the relationship between weather and climate change, and the opposition have been asked whether they value luxuries such as travel and honeymoons over human life. They'll respond to the questions. Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes.
To begin with, the relationship between weather and climate. I would say that weather is just the daily atmospheric condition of a given place at a particular time. While climate, when we look at climate is the average weather condition recorded over a given period, usually 25 to 30 years. To propose the question, the motion, I would say that due to expansion in industrial activities, we can see there has been increased emission of these poisonous gases, that is carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. And this one has led to depletion of the ozone layer, thereby paving way for the harmful ultraviolet light to reach the Earth's surface. And this one has raised concern of attack by diseases such as the skin diseases. For example, very recent here in India, we heard that people were restricted not to be outside during the day due to the depletion of the ozone layer because the country was very hot. Another one is that climatic changes such as fluctuations in rainfall patterns we can see the meteorologists, at times they may give crude information to the agriculturists. This is not because of their false or weather observation, but due to variations in climatic conditions. Because they had just said very recent here that very soon people will be experiencing El Nino rain, but we've never experienced that. So I can clearly support that climatic change is a single greatest threat to sustainable development. Anyway, thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond to the question.
You said that, are we thinking of our health or are we thinking of honeymoon? Let's look at it this way. Luxury is part of honeymoon. Think of it. Luxury will bring an impact on human life because the tourists that will be coming inside our country to enjoy the coastal region climate will give us foreign exchange that will be used in other areas in our country to develop, to boost the development in our country. Due to climate change, there will be accessibility of certain resources. Let's look at the Arctic areas. There was a non-existence of oil in the Arctic areas, but due to climate change, countries and companies have realized that there is an existence in oil in the Arctic areas and are moving fast to go and find out. And they are moving fast to go and find out the oil in the country, in the Arctic areas. Thank you.
We will now hear closing submissions. Proposers, you have 1 minute.
Clearly, following the points that have been given earlier by my fellow students, I can therefore support that. Changes in climatic conditions is therefore a single greatest threat to sustainable development. To support that, I would just use one point that has been pinpointed earlier. That is where we said that the depletion of ozone layer paving way for the harmful ultraviolet light to reach the Earth's surface. And these people were restricted to remain indoor. So just tell me, a situation whereby people are, most of the time they remain inside the house, will there be any activity taking place? Then automatically that one is what? Under development. So I can say that climatic change is a single greatest threat to sustainable development. Otherwise, thank you.
Opposition, you also have 1 minute.
Thank you. Imagine a place where there's no more middle-aged men falling down with heart attacks while shoveling snow. No more motorists careening off icy highways. No more kids falling through thin ice or elderly people freezing in their home. That's a good life, isn't it? Then we have the positive effects of climate change, which may include greener rainforests and enhanced plant growth in the Amazon, increased vegetation in northern altitudes, and possible increase in plankton biomass in some parts of the ocean. Aren't those enough points to convince all of us that climate change is suitable for development? Therefore, I strongly stand and I strongly believe that all of you should cross the floor and help me in opposing the motion the strongest terms possible. Thank you.
One of the questions that I had is, especially for Elizabeth, is there any evidence, any research, any data that you can point to when you say, I think it's you who talks about no men falling down as a result of heart attacks because of the cold weather or because of shoveling snow. That link, where are you reading that from? And then again, remember that your audience, your target audience, your immediate audience is the Kenyan audience. Lynn, I think for me, you were the strongest of the team. I loved listening to you, evidence of research, and your arguments have a logical flow. I love your style of presentation as well. Your submissions have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I must admit that the motion was not in your favor. all the same. But when you're standing before an audience, those are now sideshows. You need to convince us. But all in all, I think we are off to a good start, and all the best to the two schools.
To Kennedy, I like your confidence when you come. You have a height that really commands our attention, But I advise you, how you present yourself also adds more towards that confidence that we expect from you. For example, your tie could be somehow well put, such kind of things. They'll make you even appear much more better. Good examples. I like the examples that you gave about tourism and, directly connecting them to development. You set off the team very well with powerful points. And then Samuel as well comes across as another great orator. You come over and you really speak your mind out. Also good transitioning of your points. Nonetheless, I think as the second speaker, one of your greatest roles is to cross-examine the teams, your opponents. And so you need to really tell us that you're listening to the team by coming to show the weaknesses of the submissions they've given, which wasn't done. John, I think you're very sharp. You just come over. Sometimes you're even not sure whether you should still proceed or not. But nonetheless, with much practice, I think the two can make a great team. Good effort.
Alungo Mixed and Asumbi girls, welcome to the Great Debaters Contest. I know you're first-timers. There could be challenges here and there, but I believe that you've done your best as first-timers. A couple of things have been addressed, but whenever we research, when talking, we need to refer our audience to our source of research. It becomes very important. Remember, sometimes the document from where you got the information from can easily convince your listeners and not really the information that you're conveying to your listeners. Number two, how do you persuade your listeners? Sometimes you could be telling a lie, but you want to appear very passionate and very convincing so that the people who are listening to you can easily buy your argument. To the two teams, it was a commendable job, but I believe we can still better our presentation.
Asumbi girls, the judges gave you 64%. Please give them a huge round of applause. Yeah. Your opponents, Alungo Mixed Secondary, the judges gave you 67%, making you the winners of the debate.
Congratulations to Alungo Mixed, and we'd like to urge Asumbi girls that water falls, but it keeps flowing. So from us at the Great Debaters Contest, we'd like to thank KBC Channel 1, Safaricom M-Pesa, and urge our followers or our audience to follow us on Twitter at Great Debaters EA. I'm Austin Nyambok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Keep watching the Great Debaters Contest.
The Great Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.